What do the alternative treatments look like for someone who has been on a brain cancer journey for 19 years? Let's dive into it. We're asked so often what Kyle has utilized in this 19-year journey of brain cancer that he's been on. If you haven't watched our last video, it'll be right up here. That's his whole story about using conventional and the non-conventional. But in this video, we're really gonna dive into all of the alternative things that we have tried or currently are using, and just a deep dive into all of those different pieces. Before we begin, I want to preface that this is not medical advice. I am not a medical provider. I'm just sharing my experience as a wife and a caregiver to someone on a journey with cancer, and someone who's incredibly inquisitive and wants to know all that I can and wants to help my husband to heal so that I can have him in my life till he's 99. With that said, if anything piques your interest, of course, talk to your provider before trying anything to see if it will work for you and what you're personally going through. I first want to set the stage of who I am and my relationship with alternative healing, and also where Kyle and I were in regards to our health before his cancer returned just 1 year into our relationship in 2021. Before meeting Kyle, I always use alternative natural remedies as my first line defense for anything that was ailing me. I went through some health challenges, specifically skin issues, in my mid-20s, and that just set me on this path of wanting to find alternative, healthy ways to heal instead of like putting a prescription medication on my skin or taking something internally. So the years leading up to meeting Kyle, that was my go-to, was always trying the alternative first and then using conventional medicine if those things didn't resolve themselves, whatever was ailing me. I also think that nature can heal us, and there's so much out there that we don't utilize, and also most of our pharmaceuticals are created and derived from what things in nature can do. That was my mindset and way of looking at life coming into this relationship. I think a big part of the reason I came into Kyle's life, not only to love him and be loved by him, but was this alternative, inquisitive mind that I have to constantly research and explore what other possibilities are out there, and transmuting these moments of fear and worry into hope and possibility by exploring what other tools are available. And so we are constantly on this exploration of what will work and may work as part of his journey to healing and living till he's 99. And when Kyle and I met, our life was uneventful other than the global pandemic we were facing just 3 months into knowing each other, which is a whole other story for another time. And we just were living in the mountains. We hiked and snowshoed a lot. We're very active, specifically in nature, and we also ate a plant-based diet. Before meeting him, I was vegan and gluten-free, and coming into this relationship, he adopted that diet because it was just easier for us to cook the same thing. And before meeting me, he was fairly vegetarian, ate some animal and eggs and little bits of dairy, but was very healthy, ate a pretty plant-forward diet. That was our foundation. We did enjoy the occasional junk food, as probably most of us do. Love a good French fry or a dessert. Mostly ate a pretty plant-rich diet, everything cooked at home for the most part. So when Kyle's cancer returned in 2021, things kind of shifted, but they didn't really take root until about 2022. And let's dive into all the things that we have used, we have tried, we are currently using, and I've decided to break this up into 5 sections. So if one thing draws your attention, you can just go to that section. Of course, I recommend watching the whole video, but I wanted to break it up into these categories, and then within those really dive into the specifics. So we're going to talk about diet, lifestyle, a healthy environment, supplements, and then mindset. Those are the 5 categories that I've been able to kind of put all of the things that we have tried, which is a lot, into. So let's dive into diet. So like I said, we went into Kyle's healing with a predominantly plant-based vegan diet, eating very rich and healthy fats, many diverse fruits and vegetables, and then lots of like whole grains, nuts, seeds, things like that, which was our foundation through 2022. We had found out that his tumor had slightly progressed, and we were willing to try and do anything that might treat this cancer. He was also newly starting to have seizure activity, and when we went and saw a naturopathic oncologist, she strongly advised that he tries a ketogenic diet. So we decided to go for that, met with a nutritionist, and really created something that would work for him, which honestly was really difficult because I'm vegan for many different reasons, environmental, and also I just honestly don't like animal products. It feels like such a strong no in my body. So it was very challenging because it went from me cooking all of the meals, which worked for us, to him having to cook a lot of his meals and not feeling that inspired and gravitating towards maybe not the healthiest keto options. He stuck with that for several months till about April 2023. And then we saw further tumor progression. And at the same time, I was really diving into learning more about the work of Chris Beat Cancer, which is a very plant-focused diet. Obviously, that very much resonated with me and feels like a strong yes in my body. And at the same time, I was listening to a lot of stories of people healing brain cancer, and almost all of them ate a plant-based diet, and I don't remember a single one saying they had a keto diet, specifically on this Cannabis Health Radio podcast, because we were looking to explore adding in high-dose cannabis as well, which we'll get to in another section. And that just kind of clicked something for me, and so we decided to go back to a more plant-focused diet. Also, Kyle was really struggling to keep weight on with the keto diet. It is designed for people to lose weight, which makes sense, and he wasn't in a place and isn't in a place to be losing weight. That was another level and reason to us going back to a plant-based diet. And as we return to a plant-based diet, really focusing on eating a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and having a really diverse plate. So the idea is eating minimum 30 different fruits and vegetables a week. That's our goal. We don't always hit it with all of the things I'm going to talk about today. We're not perfect. This is what we're striving for, and not trying to be incredibly rigid, because also life is meant to be enjoyed. So finding that balance, but ideally eating 30 different plants a week, which adds in so much fiber, which is so good for the body. That has been really important for us. Also adding a lot of plant protein, especially with Kyle having lost a lot of weight in the last few months due to hospitalizations and being neutropenic. So trying to keep and maintain and put on weight has been really important. That's pretty much what our diet looks like today, a really plant-rich diet. So we eat lots of like roasted salads because it's the winter, lots of soups, things like that. When we decided to go from the keto diet back to the plant-based diet, it was very strongly encouraged to really implement intermittent fasting so that Kyle's body can heal. And it's very interesting what the benefits are of intermittent fasting. And for us, that looks like Kyle stops eating before or around 8 p.m. and then doesn't eat again till 10 a.m. the next day. So he has a 14-hour fast every single day. The benefits of intermittent fasting is, one, if you are getting chemotherapy and you fast before your infusion or when you take your chemotherapy, it actually can make the chemo more effective and help the body to do what it needs to do with that medicine. So that's one great benefit. But the big thing is that it helps increase the production of natural killer cells, or your cancer fighting cells, which is what you need when you're trying to heal cancer. It's also been shown to decrease cancer growth rates, which again, whatever we can do to help that, we are all for. Another big thing when we switched back to the plant-based diet and following a lot of the Chris Beat Cancer work is introducing carrot juice, raw onion, and raw garlic. So let's get into all three of those. Carrot juice is a powerhouse of minerals and vitamins that help your body. Specifically, the beta carotene is believed to protect the cell membranes from toxic damage and also can slow the growth rate of cancer cells. Again, we want more of that. Carrots also contain a compound, which I can't pronounce, so I'll put it right here, that scientists found that when given that compound to rats, those rats were less likely to develop cancerous tumors. Again, we want more of that. In terms of introducing that carrot juice into our life, Kyle tries to have around 12 ounces of it. We also put beets, ginger, and celery in there at least once a day is the goal. We honestly could probably do it more often, and Crispy Cancer drink a lot more than that, so that might be something that we kind of ramp up with, because for a long time Kyle wasn't able to eat any raw fruits or vegetables or fresh juices, so we're slowly adding that back in, which we'll probably do more of. Raw garlic is a powerhouse, and it's most potent when you take the cloves of garlic, cut them up, and then you need to let them sit for 15 minutes before you consume them. Because when you cut it up, it releases the compound called allicin, which is the compound that has all of the healing cancer properties, which has been shown to kill cancer cells. Again, more of that. We want it. Kyle takes 2 raw garlic cloves in the morning and then in the afternoon chopped up, and he just swallows them like a pill. In the evening, he might sprinkle it on his food, but whatever he's feeling that day. Usually just swallows it like a pill, and that seems to work just fine for him. Raw onion has some of the highest levels of quercetin, which is a type of flavonoid which has been shown to decrease tumor growth. I'm sensing you're seeing a theme here. These are all like the things that we want more of in our life. Similarly to the garlic, usually he sprinkles it on his food. He eats about half an onion a day, so a fourth at one meal and a fourth in a meal later in the day. Again, that seems to work for him. Of course, other vegetables, especially your cruciferous vegetables, are so good for you, like cabbage and kale and broccoli sprouts. These are all great, but those are the main things that we go to every single day: the carrot juice, the raw onion, the raw garlic, and they're incredible powerhouses. And then you can add all of your incredibly healthy foods in that 30 fruits and vegetables a week, which you can't go wrong. Which takes us into lifestyle. Lifestyle is jam-packed with so many things, so let's just get into it. Number 1 is hydrotherapy, which is contrasting hot and cold. You can either do this in the shower, or you could do it with a sauna and a cold plunge, but doing that contrast therapy helps move the lymph, which helps strengthen your immune system. When you're on a journey with cancer, you want a really strong immune system, and you want to support it in all of the ways possible. And that's a lot of what the lifestyle pieces are going to look like. Hydrotherapy, we started doing cold plunging back during the pandemic, following the Wim Hof method. We started again in 2021 after Kyle's cancer returned, because I was struggling with really severe anxiety. But then the more research we did, we found out how helpful it could also be for Kyle, and how many stories of people utilizing it as part of their cancer journeys. So adding that into your routine 3 days a week is great. Right now, our cold plunge is frozen solid, and a lot of the spots in the creek near our house are too shallow to get in. So for now, Kyle takes his normal shower, and then at the end turns the water to all the way cold and stands in there for up to a minute. That works. You could also just fill your tub with cold water and sit in there. Whatever you can do. And the most important thing is you always end with the cold, and then you let your body warm up naturally. That is the key. Don't get back in the warm. You gotta let your body do what it does, and that's what strengthens the immune system. Again, another thing to help move the lymph, strengthen the immune system, is dry brushing. Doing this a couple times a week just helps keep everything moving. Before you dry brush, just making sure you open up your lymph pathways. Highly suggest looking up the Big 6 lymph exercise, which is a really simple, you can do it in literally a minute, just opening up your lymph and then dry brushing. which is great. You could also do it before your hydrotherapy to just really help the body to do what it needs to do. If you have interest in learning more about the lymph, there's an incredible book called The Book of Lymph. Phenomenal. And it's packed with information and really helps you understand the lymph system better than I could ever explain to you. Another thing that helps the lymph and also the liver and your body to detox is doing castor oil packs. Kyle had some really high liver enzymes due to some of the medications, and doing castor oil packs have been incredibly supportive. Plus they just feel good, they're nourishing, and they're super easy to put on. So adding castor oil packs, again, help move the lymph, help the liver do what it needs to do, and clear out those toxins from your body, which we don't want toxins in our body. So helping support those detox pathways in all the ways that we can, super, super helpful on the journey. This one might be a little out there for most, but it is switching the light bulbs in your house. Instead of being the regular yellow light, switching them to red light bulbs. When we use red light bulbs, specifically at night, it helps your body to naturally release melatonin and supports your healthy circadian rhythm. And when you have great sleep and your body can be in that space of rest and digest and really repairing, it's imperative on the journey of healing. Switching your lights to red light is so incredibly powerful and so helpful. You'll get such a good night's sleep and your brain doesn't feel overstimulated or anything. Your body can actually tune in and know when it's time to go to sleep. Making that switch, it's easy and honestly so powerful. This is a big one and so important. Getting outside into nature. Countless studies have found spending time in nature helps your immune system, increases your body's production of anti-cancer proteins along with your natural killer cells, which kill cancer cells. We want more of that. Plus, time in nature is just so nourishing. And if you live in a city, go to a park, breathe in that air. It's so helpful. Getting outside and breathing fresh air is vital. Studies have shown that you don't need to go and spend like days outside. The goal is a minimum of 120 minutes a week. So you could do that all at once. You could break that up. And that time has long-lasting effects. And so just getting outside for 20 minutes to go for a walk, sit and breathe in the air, however you want to connect with nature, is really important. And spending that time in nature can help reduce anxiety and depression, which when you're on a journey with cancer, it can feel really heavy and really daunting. And that anxiety and depression, I think a lot of us can relate to. And if we can use tools like time in nature to help those things, let's utilize them. That's been our perspective, and also living the mountains and loving being outside doesn't hurt. So get outside in nature. It's a big one. A big piece of Kyle and I's relationship started on this foundation of sitting for tea ceremony every single morning. It's been a strong foundation of our partnership in my life. Before meeting him, I had traveled to Taiwan to study about tea. I've actually moved to Colorado to further learn more about tea. And so it's been a big part of my life, and using it as a mindful practice, sitting quietly, contemplatively, and enjoying the incredible essence of warm tea. It's just so nourishing. But it's not just healing because of the meditation and the mindfulness that comes. It's healing because of what you're actually drinking. Tea is packed with antioxidants, and antioxidants help neutralize free radicals in the body, which is incredibly important. There are studies that show that there are benefits in green teas and also really dark teas like pu'ers, which are a type fermented tea, which are incredibly delicious and so grounding, which has many benefits just in that. But they found that those pu'ers actually reduce inflammatory proteins in the body and block cancer cell growth. Okay, multi for me, please. And it has also been shown to activate pathways in the body that stop cell growth. Again, sign me up. More tea. Please, more tea. The darker teas, they actually suppress cell proliferation, which in turn promote cell program death, which, again, We want more of that. And then these lighter teas, like green tea, is really high in EGCG, which is a compound that has been found to inhibit the enzymes required for cancer cell growth. All the tea, I will take it. And I think that is a great place to wrap up lifestyle. Some of them you can add in relatively quickly, and they have so many powerful healing properties. Let's move into having a healing environment. Having a safe and healing space that you can be in, especially on this journey, is so important. And so doing all that you can to make sure you're not bringing any further toxins or things that have cancer causing effects into your life is vital. And so having a healing environment is imperative. A big piece of it has been making our home very, very safe to be in. We unfortunately found out we had high levels of radon along with really toxic mold. And so a big piece was, one, getting our house professionally taken care of so that it was safe to be in, but then also adding in air purifiers in our home just to be sure that we are taking as many precautions as we can to take any toxins out of the air so that we're not breathing them in. The air purifiers can limit the amount of pollutants in your air so that you're breathing clean air, and that in turn can help support a healthier, stronger immune system. That's been a big piece, is adding in those air purifiers. Another is making sure that you're drinking clean, filtered, mineral-rich water, but healthy minerals. So using a water purification system, reverse osmosis, whatever resonates or you feel gravitated towards, is really ideal. We got our water tested and found out that our water is actually really safe to drink, and that was incredibly empowering and encouraging for us to know that we're not drinking any toxins in our water. A big piece is also eliminating bringing in any toxins. So we cut out any artificial fragrances, perfumes, dyes, anything synthetic, and switch to all natural derived cleaning products, beauty products. Anything that we bring into our house is very intentional. We choose to only bring in things that will not disrupt our endocrine system or potentially cause cancer. There are so many studies linking fragrances and products to cancers, so why would we bring those into our homes? We choose to use really gentle, clean products. In terms of cleaning products, we use a lot of Dr. Bronner's and make our own solutions, which is super, super easy. And we also use that for our body care. And then for like shampoo and conditioner, choosing products like Clean Products or the Simple Planet, those are all really good, non-toxic products. But another great tip is using an app like Think Dirty, where you can literally scan the barcode of the product you're looking to bring into your home or use, and it will tell you what toxins, and it'll give you a rating scale of 0 to, I believe, 8. And we try to only use products that are rated at that 0. That's like our ideal thing, knowing that we are absolutely safe bringing in only clean products that aren't going to disrupt our bodies or prohibit our bodies from healing. Another piece of that is limiting the amount of plastic that we bring into our home and into our lives. So choosing when and where we can to avoid plastic, which means that a lot of our items are bought in bulk or bought in metal or glass, and really avoiding plastic where we can, which for us has ended up being a lot more cost effective than buying a lot of packaged things, because when you buy in bulk, it's usually a much better deal. Love either going to our local co-op and buying in bulk, or if I want to buy a really big batch of things like foods that we eat a lot of, I like using a website called Azure Standard, and they have an incredible system and a lot of items in bulk, so that's a great alternative. And most of their items come in paper, which you can't go wrong. And then we like to take off the labels and then either, recycle that, or we'll use it to burn in our fireplace. And that works for us. If you can reduce the amount of toxins you're bringing in, it just makes the other pieces of things that you're doing that much more effective, because if your body's just continually taking in more toxins and then you're trying to clear them, you're just making your body have to work harder. And so when you can, try and avoid those things, like fragrances is a big one, and any harsh chemicals. We don't use anything that can harm you or the environment, really. Okay, this might be the biggest section yet. We're going to dive into all of the supplements. Most of these have been recommended by Kyle's naturopathic oncologist, or things that we've researched and then asked our provider about and have agreed on adding them into Kyle's routine. The biggest thing that we found to be really, really helpful is introducing medical high-dose cannabis. There are so many anecdotal stories of people using high-dose cannabis to heal whatever ailments they have, but especially cancer. And we have the belief if they can do it, so can Kyle. So why not add it in and see what it can do? In terms of what that cannabis protocol looks like, a lot of people go the route of the Rick Simpson oil, which we haven't personally explored, but if that's of interest, I would dive deeper into that. For us, we chose to find and work with a cannabis provider who creates a targeted plan for you. And that has resonated with us, and not having to go to the full 1 gram of THC, which is what the Rick Simpson protocol is all about, but using really high quality, specifically targeted strains of cannabis. So for Kyle, that looks like taking high doses of THC, THCA, CBG, and CBD. And these are all targeting very different parts of the body and the brain, and helping the immune system in all the ways that it can. And the big thing about cannabis is that, one, it can help support the body and feel relaxed, and like it can do what it needs to do, but it can also promote cancer cells to die. So we want more of that. And for us, that felt like worth our time and our energy to explore that. And it's been really helpful for Kyle. He's been doing it since about April, May 2023, and his tumor has been stable since then, after many episodes of seeing slight progression between 2021 and 2023. So it's been a big tool in our toolkit, and can't recommend it enough. Highly, highly suggest the podcast called Cannabis Health Radio, and you can literally search whatever ailment you have, and there will probably be countless episodes of people sharing their stories about how they utilize cannabis in their journey. And it was incredibly helpful for me and for us to dive into that and hear other people's stories, to expand our mind to believe that there's other ways of healing out there. But it can't be the only thing. Like any of this, you can't just use the one thing. I think it all works together to help the body. I've touched on working with a naturopathic oncologist, and that's been absolutely vital as part of our healing. She's an incredible touchstone whenever we have questions about anything we're wanting to explore, and she can really give us great insight into it. She also has recommended an incredible amount of supplements into Kyle's regime, and these are the ones that he has used that have stuck into his rotation, which are as follows. First being high dose melatonin. Kyle takes 50 milligrams every single night, which is a lot, but it helps to strengthen the immune system. There are numerous studies that suggest that taking these high doses of melatonin has specific actions against brain tumor cells. So that is why we have chosen to add that in. Taking a vitamin D3, again, helps the immune system to work the way that it needs to work, which we want to support in as many ways as we can. Taking liposomal vitamin C, which is a gel, liquidy form of a vitamin. It's a profound antioxidant, and when taken in high doses can actually promote cancer cell death. We want that. Taking omega oil, which supports the immune system, can help decrease inflammation and promote beneficial metabolic activity and help with neural function. So important. Boswellia, which is often known as frankincense, can help with anti-inflammatory action in the brain, which when you have a tumor in your brain, there tends to be edema or swelling. So it's really, really important, and that's something that Kyle definitely has apparent in his brain. So utilizing that is really important. When Kyle became neutropenic, we also started adding in beta-1,3-D-glucan, which is important in helping to increase your white blood cell count, which that helps get your natural killer cells on board to do what they need to do and kill those cancer cells. Papaya leaf extract can help promote platelet production, which has been really helpful for Kyle. And then taking bacopa extract, which I will link an incredible TED Talk below about the insight into this specific plant and brain cancer. Incredibly insightful. Watch that and then asked our naturopathic oncologist, is this something we can bring on board? And she was very supportive of that. It's an incredibly strong antioxidant, can help with the reduction of swelling and also help with brain function. And then the last two things that the naturopathic oncologist has recommended for us are using mistletoe therapy, which was highly suggested and continues to be highly suggested for us. And Kyle tried it for a few weeks. Unfortunately, his counts got all wonky in that point in time, and he had started that, so there was some hesitation from his oncology team for him to continue. So along with his oncology team and his naturopathic oncologist, we decided to pause that. But mistletoe is incredible. It's been used in Europe for decades as a combination and also used on its own with cancer treatment, and it can help the body to produce more natural killer cells, which go and target the cancer cells and help clear them out of the body. So it was something we were really excited to utilize, and unfortunately we didn't get to utilize it for very long to see any of those benefits, but we're hoping that maybe at a later date we can reintroduce that. Since we paused that, his naturopathic oncologist highly recommended using Helleborus, which is taken subcutaneously as a shot that he gives himself once a week, which can be really helpful in just calming the body and helping with inflammation, and then also helps the body to induce the body into programmed cell death, so those cancer cells will begin to clear out of the body. Again, they're all so powerful in their own right, and I think when we can utilize these things together and then they can all dance, it helps in the healing and it helps in strengthening the body to do what it needs to do. The last two pieces in this supplement journey is working with a homeopathist, which they work on an energetic level, and we found that really helpful from our perspective. And Kyle specifically, there's a great belief that cancer for him, and maybe for many, is formed out of a trauma response. And if we can target those energetic blocks and ailments in the body, it can be incredibly supportive. And so it is very gentle medicine. And for Kyle specifically, he's doing a targeted brain protocol that his homeopathist is providing for him. The brain protocol has been really supportive, and we're really excited to see what continues to come up as he continues on that journey. I don't have all the specifics of how it works, but I would recommend, if it's of interest to you, working with a homeopathist and seeing if they might be able to give you a similar protocol as well. And then the last thing for supplements is using medicinal mushrooms. Mushrooms are so powerful, and they taste delicious, but using them as medicine can be really incredible. If you look up Paul Stamets, he has an incredible TED Talk about how he used turkey tail mushrooms and the help of his mom's journey with cancer, and that was incredibly powerful and moving, and that propelled us to really add in a lot of medicinal mushrooms. So for Kyle, he takes turkey tail, which strengthens your body's immune system, and it can also help your body to repair more quickly from receiving immunotherapies. He takes reishi, which can help the body to produce more white blood cells and to fight infection. And then he takes lion's mane, which is great for your brain. It's been shown to slow down the progression of tumors. They did a study where they mixed lion's mane with human cancer cells in a test tube. And when the lion's mane was present, the cancer cells died faster. So that's a cool tidbit. Mushrooms are pretty freaking fantastic. Fantastic fungi. There's so many more layers and types of mushrooms, but those have been the ones that we have stuck with. Also love chaga. Again, there's an endless deep dive that you can do into each one of these, but this video would be incredibly long. And also, I am not that well versed in all of it. I have a pretty scratch the surface understanding of most of these things. And the last and maybe the most important, I don't know, they're all important, but this one feels really important, is utilizing energetic healing. Like I said previously, there's a belief for us that tumors and cancer forms out of a trauma response. And so working on an energetic level is incredibly imperative, and we found it to be a big part of Kyle's journey. Specifically, his mindset and how he views his cancer and this journey that he's been on. For Kyle, he has never believed that he was gonna die, even when they told him he only had 3 to 6 months to live. And that mindset has really been the cornerstone of his journey, because even though he didn't utilize any alternative treatment through the first 2 rounds of cancer coming into his life, he's still here. And I think a big part of that is this belief that he wasn't going to die. And he also had this big mindset of just knowing that he had so much life to live and wanted to live, and having that purpose is so incredibly important. And also not asking for a prognosis. The belief that prognoses keep us trapped in this idea that that's all that we have left, and choosing to not allow those into your space as you're on a journey with cancer is really, really helpful, because you don't feel like the clock is ticking, and you can fully enjoy your life and know that there's a lot more life to live. I think it allows you a lot more space of what's available on this journey. In our relationship, Kyle is incredibly optimistic, and I came into this not being very optimistic. And so I want to touch on the mindset of the caregiver and what has worked for me. Kyle was very clear to me that he needed me to be hopeful and optimistic with him. And for me, that meant faking it until it became reality, and choosing to replace that fear when I could with smiling and laughing and playfulness. And that eventually has become more of the default, and I found that to be so helpful for me to stay strong and to stay hopeful and transformative in my own journey, and in turn has been so supportive to Kyle. Our mindset really does matter, and we can change that. It's malleable. Beyond that mindset, 2 of the other pieces that we've utilized are therapy, working with a therapist, and also working with energy healers to help clear those blocks. So working with a therapist to really talk through those things, and then working with an energy healer who can really go in and clear those blocks on an energetic level. And that's been really, really helpful and powerful for Kyle on this journey. And then the last bit is using a Rife machine. It's one of those things where it was recommended time and time again to us, and we're finally like, okay, there's got to be something to this. The Rife machine was created by a man named Dr. Rife in the 1930s. And it's this idea that viruses and diseases have their own electromagnetic frequency. And when we target the body with those specific frequencies, it could cause the cancer microbes to shatter and die. And it's a similar belief of this Optune device that he uses. Like, our body is made up of energetic frequencies. And when you can shift and change those frequencies, certain things can't survive or thrive anymore, so they have programmed cell death. And the Rife machine that we chose is super easy. It's a mat that lays under our bed sheet, and he just lays on top of it, and there's no pain or anything. You just let those frequencies move into the body, and it's a really easy tool to just add in. And can we for sure say it works? I don't know. Again, there's so many moving pieces, but it's another tool that's at our availability, and we're going to utilize it. This journey has been anything but ordinary, and it's been filled with a lot of exploration, a lot of trying and seeing and testing out what works and what doesn't. And these are the things that we feel like we come back to time and time again, and what works for Kyle at this point in time. Yet we are always exploring and open to trying what other things are available. And so this isn't just, this is what it is. It's an endless journey and ebb and flow through life, and it's never perfect and never will be. And we're just trying to see what works for Kyle, and we'll continue to do just that. And I hope that this video inspires you, leaves you with information and knowledge that you didn't have beforehand, and empowers you to know that there are so many tools beyond the standard of care available. And that's not saying that those things aren't important, because a big part of Kyle's journey has been utilizing conventional treatments, but now pairing them with these alternatives and having a very integrative approach, because they both serve a great purpose. If I forgot anything, or you think there's something that we should know about or learn or explore, please let me know in the comments below. And also let me know what you found inspiring or helpful in this video. And then make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see more videos like this. And I will see you in the next one. And until then, I hope the moments in your life are filled with so much joy, ease, and healing. I will see you then. Big love.